The Z5 II is Nikon's latest entry-level full-frame camera, and today I'm going to show you how to put it together inside an Ikelite 200DL underwater housing. So first up, we're going to put the camera to the side and draw our attention to the housing and put it on its front and remove the back by lifting up on all three of the locking lid snaps. And the back will just come off. Put that to the side, and inside you'll find a camera mount that's specifically designed for the Nikon Z5 II, which features a 1/4 screw that's going to screw into the bottom tripod mount of the camera itself. You'll also notice that there's a backing surface on the mount, and we're going to want to make sure that that's lined up with the back of the camera. So to mount, just put the screw in the tripod mount and tighten it down with a flat-headed screwdriver, making sure that back surface is lined up with the back of the camera. You'll want to make sure this is pretty tight because any misalignments here will result in misalignments with controls inside the housing. So once you've got that on tight, we're going to take the hot shoe connector and slide it inside of the hot shoe of the camera itself until we've hit the front surface of the hot shoe on the camera. Next, I'm going to take all the controls inside the housing and back them out so they don't interfere with the camera, and simply slide the camera inside the housing. From here, I'll realign all of my controls and we can put the back on the housing. Same as before, it should fall into place. Take all three locking lid snaps and snap them down. Take the first two that are on the sides and simultaneously snap them down, and then take the front and close that one down. All right, so from here, we're gonna flip the housing over and use the included zoom gear retainer tool to remove the zoom gear retainer. Put that off to the side for now and remove the dust cap and keep this with your spare parts. And then I'm going to remove the body cap from the camera itself. And in this video, I'm going to be installing the Nikon 14-30 f4, but you can refer to the port chart linked in the description below to find the extensions and ports that you need for your lens specifically. So for this lens, I do need a zoom gear and ring. So I'm going to take the zoom gear, drop that down into place, and then replace the zoom gear retainer and tighten that down. This does not need to be super tight, just hand tight to keep it in place. All right, and then from there, I'm going to take my zoom ring and place it on the lens with the notches facing the back of the lens, and just slide it up onto the zoom ring. So once I have my zoom ring on the lens, I like to line up these notches with the white dot that's on the lens, and it'll just make it a little easier when we drop it into the housing. So with that lined up, I'll remove the back cap, come back to my housing, and you'll see that there are two notches on the zoom gear itself. I'm just going to turn the zoom knob on the side of the housing to line those notches up with the white dot on the camera. Then I'll come back to my lens, make sure I'm in autofocus, line up that notch with the white dot, and drop it into place. You'll feel it drop into place, and then just turn it to bayonet it on. Once it's bayoneted on, you can use the zoom knob on the side to double check that you have zoom functionality, and we do, so we can move on to the extensions and the dome. So we'll put the camera off to the side, and this lens specifically calls for the 50mm extension and a large 8-inch dome port. So with our extension and dome port, I'm going to flip the extension over and make sure that all three thumb screws are backed out of the inside diameter. And I'll just run my finger along that inside diameter, making sure that all the thumb screws are backed out. And I'm going to do the same thing with the dome port. Next, I'll grab a little bit of the included Ikelite lubricant between my index finger and thumb, and I'm just going to run it along the O-ring of the extension. Take a little bit more lube and run it along the O-ring of the housing port mount. Take a little bit of the remaining lube on your fingers and just run it on the inside diameter of the dome and the extension. This is also allowing you to check for any hair or debris and just double check that all of these thumb screws are backed out. Alright, from here you'll see that the 3 thumb screws correspond with 3 pockets on the extension and the dome. So we're going to want to line up these pockets with the thumb screws on the dome itself. So once those are lined up, we'll just press together and tighten down all 3 thumb screws. If you feel any resistance, just back them out and realign. Alright, and then the same 3 pockets are going to be found on the housing port mount. So again, we'll take our dome and extension that's put together now and align the top shade and thumb screw with the top of the housing. Drop it down into place and tighten down all 3 thumb screws. Cool, so from here you are fully waterproof, but there is one more step that we like to take before we go diving, and that is putting the housing under a vacuum. So on the side of your housing, you'll find a vacuum valve, and if you just click the button on that, it will release the cap, and you can insert the barbed end of the pump inside the vacuum valve and start pumping up your housing. Alright, so I pumped my housing up to 10, but the number that you pick is not important. What's important is that the needle is not dropping. So typically the night before, I'll pump up my housing to the desired number, so 10, and then I'll press the button on the valve again to remove the barb, place the cap, and leave the housing under a vacuum all night. Then in the morning, I'll insert the pump back into the valve and check to make sure that the needle hasn't dropped. If it hasn't dropped, that means our system is fully sealed and we're good to go diving. If you don't have all night, 10 to 20 minutes before the dive will be fine. But again, I like to do it the night before when I get my system ready to go. Once you're back from your dive and you want to change lenses or charge your camera or offload photos, you won't be able to remove any of the ports or the back without releasing the vacuum. So to release it, just again, simply insert the barbed end into the vacuum valve, and there's a button on the bottom of your pump. If you press that, it will release the vacuum. Be sure to remember anytime you take the barb out to replace the cap. Alright, so that's how to assemble the Nikon Z5 Mark II inside an Ikelite 200DL underwater housing. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments down below or shoot us an email to ikelite@ikelite.com.